What's going on, Dolphins? It's your boy Dillon, and this is another episode of Dolphins with Dillon. Yay! Okay, so today's Friday, August 24th. That means tomorrow, August 25th, we have our game against the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens, and so I am doing my Baltimore Ravens game preview. Okay, got it. So before I actually get into like my whole analysis and what we need to see, blah 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 blah, I do have one article that I want to read because it is relevant to all this. It actually talks about, so it's a article from the Phins, and it's the 10 things to watch for the Miami Dolphins' final 2 preseason games. So they talk about what needs to happen over the course of the rest of the offseason games that we have, but it is obviously very relevant to this one, and there were some things in here that were really interesting that I wanted to talk about too, before I actually go into what I think we need to look at. So I'll get right into it. The Miami Dolphins are down to their final 2 preseason games before the schedule moves to the regular season and the games start mattering for playoff positioning. That leaves 2 more chances to get things fixed without it hurting. That also means there are 2 more weeks of things to watch to get an idea of what the 2018 Miami Dolphins will be. What are those 10 storylines to watch the rest of the Dolphins preseason? Let's count them down. Number 10. Injuries. This is obviously a big one. Every team hopes to stay as healthy as possible. Last year, the injury bug became the story for the Dolphins. Well, maybe not the story for the team, given all the insanity that surrounded the team throughout the summer and fall, but really, there were 16 players on injured reserve for Miami at the end of the year. That's a lot, with at least 11 of them starters or key contributors. That's also a lot. That means 20% of the players Miami was counting on making an impact in 2017 were stuck in rehab for various injuries. Yeah, that's no good. This year, the injury bug has shown up a little, knock on wood, but it has not been as crippling as last training camp. Seriously, knock on wood. Everything thus far has seemed like issues that can be quickly healed, or at least will not force a player to be out for the year. Even with an injury like wide receiver Devontae Parker's broken finger, it should be healed up fairly early in the season, if not by week 1. Injuries, or the lack thereof, will be a story through the remainder of the preseason and the regular season and potentially the playoffs. Number 9, kickers. This one is not all that critical given that both players are doing fairly well, but the Dolphins do need someone to break away in the competition between the 2 rookie kickers, Jason Sanders versus Greg Joseph. Who will win? Tune in to find out. Number 8, Frank Gore. Another one that really is not a critical thing to watch, but Gore is expected to make his debut for the Dolphins in preseason week 3. The team has held him out of games thus far simply because they did not feel they needed to see anything from him, but he is itching to play and now seems the time to get him into a game, get those first few hits, then shut him down for the rest of the preseason. Kenyon Drake, Gore, and Kalen Balazs should be a really strong trio of runners for Miami, so Gore joining the group will be a fun thing to watch. Number 7 is Ryan Tannehill. At this point, Tannehill's knee injury is in the past and he is ready to play. Of course, the offensive line has actually been playing well enough to keep the quarterback upright and clean. At some point, he is going to take the first clean hit and potentially a hit to the knee, and we will all hold our collective breath when it happens. Tannehill bouncing back up and being ready to go again will be an important step in Miami's preparation for 2018. As for the offense itself, Tannehill has looked pretty sharp. There have been a few throws that got away from him, some underthrown, some overthrown, but he is dialing it in at this point and looks like he is ready for the season. He looks like he knows exactly what the offense is supposed to be doing and where he is supposed to be going with the ball, and his comfort has led to the ... Number 6, up-tempo offense. It seems like every year we talk about how the Dolphins are looking to go up-tempo with the offense. They want to be fast to the line of scrimmage and they want to run more plays. We heard this under Joe Philbin, and we have heard it in the first 2 years with head coach Adam Gase. This year, it does feel a little different though. The team has sped things up some in the preseason, at times getting up to the line and calling the play from there. Will they continue that into the regular season? If they are able to sustain it, it should be seen a little more during the second half of the preseason. Number 5, backup quarterbacks. David Fales still appears to be leading the battle to be Tannehill's understudy, but he has not pulled away, and Brock Osweiler is somehow still in contention. Bryce Petty has moved the offense well late in the games and could be fighting his way into more playing time over the final 2 weeks, although he's sidelined right now with an injury. This should end up with Fales in the position and both other players cut, but this is not a lock. Number 4, linebackers. Paging the linebackers. Please show up for the 2018 season. Thank you. The Dolphins linebackers have made some plays this summer, but they have also simply missed at times. Players have been out of position or too easily washed out of the play with a block. Miami is relying on a second-year player whose rookie experience was running down on the field on opening kickoff coverage of the opening game of the preseason last year, and now a rookie outside linebacker, with the two players having played together at Ohio State. Both are going to make rookie mistakes, and the Dolphins have to live with that. They cannot, however, continue to make the same mistakes. Raekwon McMillan, entering his second season after last year's torn ACL, has picked up the middle linebacker position he appeared to have last year. However, he has not appeared fully comfortable in the role at times, insofar as having to have Kiko Alonso, who looks healthy by the way, which should be a great thing for Miami, make the play calls at times. He has to find his comfort zone because right now it is not there. Jerome Baker has moved into the starting lineup after being with the second team in preseason week 1, but now it's to prove he is worthy of the spot. That said, Stephon Anthony, behind Baker, was demoted and has struggled during the first 2 preseason games. Miami's linebackers may be the biggest concern on the team right now, and the next 2 games have to calm the fears of the fan base. Number 3, scoring. I'm not as overly concerned about this as some of the fans on Twitter, but at some point the first team offense needs to punch a ball into the end zone. They are moving the ball well, but stall out near the red zone. While Gase has admitted he is not calling the red zone plays the team would use in the regular season, the bad taste of last year's inability to finish drives is coming back as we see field goal after field goal. The Dolphins drafted tight end Mike Gesicki with this as one of his strong suits. Now he needs to execute, and the Dolphins need to call plays to get him open and into the end zone. This should open up once the games start to count toward the playoffs, but it would be nice to see a little of it now. Number 2, penalties. Flag. The Dolphins' flags seem to be struggling. Flag while not committing flag penalties. This flag, preseason flag. So he obviously was trying to be a little funny there. But it is true, though. We need to cut that down. I'll talk about that in a minute. Way too many of those penalties are coming from pre-snap mistakes on both sides of the ball. This has been a theme under Adam Gase, and it is something that the team is trying to stop, but so far it has continued to be a problem. And number 1, cornerbacks. Seriously, can someone please just step up and claim the second starting cornerback position already? Will the Dolphins be forced to move Bobby McCain outside and leave first-round pick Minkah Fitzpatrick as the nickel cornerback? Why has Cordray Tankersley vanished lately? Is Tony Lippett's Achilles really ready for him to launch an assault on the position battle the second half of the preseason? Was Torrey McTyer a flash in a pan, or can he still keep himself in contention for a starting role? The Dolphins should be able to create pressure on opposing quarterbacks this year, but they need the cornerbacks to give them that extra beat to move it from a hurry to a sack. Okay, so having said all that, I will now give you my breakdown. I mean, there's obviously some good things from there, and a lot of that is for sure true. So let me go ahead and get into it. I'll break it down for the whole team, basically position by position. So, well, first of all, as a blanket statement, we definitely need to perform better than last week. Now, I wasn't very pleased overall with last week's performance, but there is a lot that goes into that. It is the preseason. How much do the starters play, as well as the up-tempo offense, what play calls are being called, various different things. There's all kinds of factors that go into it. So, but having said that, we absolutely do need to play better and more consistently. Now, quarterback. So for Ryan Tannehill, he has looked pretty smooth. He's definitely looked mobile. He's been able to make some throws. He definitely, these are the first games he's played in, so it's not totally, crazy, I guess it's, to expect that he would miss a couple throws, and he has. He definitely has. He needs to tighten that up. He needs to get, pinpoint. He needs to get it, back to where he was before his injuries and stuff. But it doesn't look like, the injuries are an issue. He is going to obviously wear a brace during the games, but he seems to be doing all right moving around. And for the most part, he seems to be accurate, moving the ball, taking care of it, all that good stuff. So I'm not really too worried about him. I think he is going to, just get more comfortable as the preseason, as things go on. Obviously, we're going to see the starters more in this game than, the past 2 games. And then the last game, we probably won't see him at all. And we'll see them, or see just, the second and third string and fourth string guys to try and hash out who's going to be on the team. Anyway, so Tannehill's doing pretty good. I'm not too worried about him, but I do want to see, I am excited to see him in extended action. I'd like to see a few more drives. I'd like to see if we can consistently push the ball down the field. Now, also, they do need to punch it in the end zone. Flat out, point blank, period. They need to put it in the end zone. So I understand Gase doesn't want to, at least once, man. I understand Gase doesn't want to, break out, all of his plays yet, but at least I think personally he should get a little bit creative. He should throw in a wrinkle or two that allows us, to do something. Because it's been the past couple games, while we have moved the ball well and everything, it's just, it wasn't very exciting. There weren't a lot of big plays. And then when we got to the red zone, we definitely, stalled out and couldn't really seem to do anything. Certainly had a tough time, punching it in. Especially with the first team offense. So I want to see that. The offensive line, though, has been playing really well overall. Ryan Tannehill has been clean in the pocket. They haven't gotten to him. And that's so refreshing. I'm sure he thinks that, he had an interview where he said it's nice to have that. So, and that's perfectly understandable and obviously gives him time, but he isn't used to that. So that, probably, has a little to do with, how he's going to be performing here early on in the preseason. He hasn't played in forever. These are his first games. He's got to get used to playing with these guys, and he's not used to having such a clean pocket and, having the time to go through his reads and his progressions and stuff. So the offensive line has been doing rather well. Obviously, we need to cut down on these penalties, particularly the pre-snap ones, the ones that we shouldn't be having, the false starts and the, delay games and stuff like that, right? We only had the one delay game. But anyway, so those need to go away. Penalties in general need to drop, for sure. But overall, the offensive line has been playing pretty solid, and I can't really complain too much. Obviously, we just want to see continued consistency and chemistry throughout that unit. We want that continuity to be there. We want them all to stay healthy so that way they can all be there throughout the season. From the running backs, I think overall in the preseason, the running backs have been doing pretty solid, but we want to see that continue to grow. We want to see them continue to develop. Obviously, Gase has been reserved in his play calling, so the running backs and tight ends have been used a little bit more in protection and just with simple routes and nothing crazy, nothing too extravagant. But we want to see, more consistency out of them. We want to see them, pushing forward, falling forward, getting positive yardage. Because, one thing we do have to do is on first and second down, we need to make sure that we're actually getting, a positive net yardage. So that way, on third down, when we do get to third downs, we need to be able to convert them by not having third and longs all the time. So obviously the cutting down the penalties is a big thing, and then making sure, like with the running backs and receivers and stuff, whatever, they get positive yardage always. The tight ends, as I said, the tight ends have been utilized mostly for like blocking packages, and shorter routes, intermediate routes, nothing too crazy, and they haven't really shown up too much. So I would like to see Gase use them a little bit more in the passing game, particularly, like I said, I mean, if Gase wanted to, dial something up so Gesicki can get his first touchdown catch. Okay? Let's move the ball down the field on the first drive and get to the red zone, and then lob one up to Gesicki in the back corner for a fade or something, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Gase can figure it out, call whatever he wants, but get him in the end zone, get him his first touchdown, and get us, some points. Let's score, right? Besides that, though, Marquise Gray will probably be back. I don't think he'll be in the concussion protocol anymore, but I don't know if he's been officially or fully cleared yet, so we'll have to see. But if he is, then we should have all of our tight ends back. A.J. Derby's been back from his foot injury, so we'll see. I would like to definitely see them use more. The wide receivers, they've been solid, and like I said, I mean, it's been reserved play calling. There hasn't been a whole lot of fancy stuff. Just, Jakeem, he needs to make sure he catches, the things thrown to him. He's been decent, but he has dropped a few balls. Wilson's been pretty great. Parker's not going to play, because he's still got his finger issue. Stills, though, looks to be back. So we should be able to expect him to play. Let's see, Danny Amendola. I would like to see his and Tannehill's connection a little bit more solid in this next game when he throws to him. And then obviously let's see, some more of these younger receivers. Francis Owusu's been really good. Isaiah Ford. Let's see, some of these guys bust out and show some things, just like some of the running backs. Sonoris Perry, Buddy Howell, they've had some good runs. They've done some good things. We haven't really seen much of Jeremy Langford yet, but maybe we'll see more of him coming up soon, certainly in the last game. So let's see, that should be about it for the offense. The big things are, cut down on penalties, move the ball downfield and get into the end zone, and then just, further consistency among the group. For defense, obviously, for the defensive line, we want to see guys. I think Jordan Phillips should be coming back from his shoulder injury. But we want to see these guys have more consistency. We want to see them get more pressure. And this would be a good week, definitely, to test both, the offense and defense against the Baltimore Ravens. They're a good team. They certainly have a stout defense. And, the offense has weapons. Joe Flacco's playing better because, he's definitely got a fire under his ass with, the guys that are coming up behind him, pushing him. I think Teddy Bridgewater is there, and man, why can't I think of their first round rookie's name? I keep thinking of Deshaun Watson for some reason, but I know he's on the Texans. Oh my God. Well, you know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name to save my life right now. But I'm sure it'll pop into my head at some point. But you know who I'm talking about. Lamar Jackson. There we go. Jesus Christ. So, Lamar Jackson there. Anyway, so it'll be a good test for us. We do need to get more pressure, and some more sacks. Hopefully, that's the That's definitely a huge goal for us this year. We were, I think, 30th or 29th in the NFL in sacks last year, so that's not good. We need to pick those up. We need to get more pressures, more hurries, and stuff like that. But also, too, we need to make sure that, we're stopping the run. The defensive ends are setting the edge, and the D tackles are filling their gaps. And then to allow the linebackers to get in there and make the stop if they don't. That's also a big thing. Those are two areas obviously we need to make sure to focus on is sacks. We need to increase those, and pressures. We need to increase those, and stopping the run game. The linebackers have done all right, but they do need to pick it up. It is probably still one of the biggest question marks for this team. And obviously penalties play a role into the defense as well. We've had some pre-snap penalties and stuff like that. We need to get cleaned up. But anyway, the linebackers, they've been doing all right. I think that overall Raekwon McMillan and Jerome Baker will be the starting linebackers alongside, Kiko Alonso. And I think that just with every practice rep they get in, with every game rep they get in, they will get more comfortable. I mean, they're already familiar with each other, which I think is, it's a bonus. I mean, obviously having two guys that played together, started together from the same school and everything, is a bonus, but that's good. That should help us, because they are familiar and comfortable with each other. Now they just need to get to that level here with us in this defense and in this scheme. And like I said, I think with every rep that they take, they will do that. Jerome Baker has looked really good, throughout the preseason so far, and McMillan's just looked solid. He hasn't been spectacular great, but he's been, definitely in on some plays and whatnot. And, Kiko Alonso does seem to be looking healthier, and this is his second consecutive year starting at the weak side linebacker position. So he's had a little bit more continuity and consistency there, so that should help him. I think overall, as the year progresses on, we will start to see the linebackers become more and more of a strength. So I'm not overly worried about them, but we do also need to see, some more from the backups. I'm pretty happy with Chase Allen. I think he's a really good backup. I think he'll be around. Mike Hull obviously has his knee injury, so he's still going to be out for a bit, but he's been solid when he comes in, but, primarily a special teams guy. Stephon Anthony, I think that he needs to be better, but he's all right as a spot guy, as backup. And then we got, like Terrence Garvin and Quentin Poling and so on and so forth. So, we do need to see some advancements from the backups, because if something does happen to one of our starting linebackers for some reason, God forbid, hopefully not, but then we will need somebody to be able to fill in without a huge drop off. Cornerbacks and safeties, so our secondary, we just want to see them continue to play tight coverage, make sure they're sticking on their man and disrupting them at the line of scrimmage when they're playing in man. Make sure they're communicating well, especially in zone coverages. We'd like to see a little bit more from Minkah Fitzpatrick, see if he can, show some more flashes, continuously and consistently show flashes. He did really well in the first preseason game, and he was a little bit quieter in the second preseason game, although they did put him into the slot in that game, and Bobby McCain also got moved out to the boundary, and we may see that again. We may see some 3 safety looks, but we do need obviously from the corners, we need to see more consistency, because I think ultimately, it's good that there's going to be some versatility and flexibility throughout the secondary, but I think ultimately we do need, for base packages and for the general outlook of our defense, we need to have Minkah as free safety with Rashad Jones as strong safety. Xavier Howard has the 1 spot, And we need one of those other corners to pick up and take that other spot, whether it be Tankersley or Lippett or McTire or somebody, because I think McCain does need to be in the slot. Ideally, we want McCain in the slot. Like I said, McCain, Howard, Fitzpatrick, Jones, and then whoever else. We need one of them to up their level of play, because ideally that would be the best package. But, it is what it is, and they'll obviously change things up. Obviously things aren't always going to be in a base 4-3. There'll be nickel and dime sub packages that we'll move guys around. There will be times where there's 3, 4, maybe even sometimes 5 receivers on the field for the opposing offense, in which time we will obviously have several defensive backs. But they need tight coverage. Obviously there's been a couple penalties in the secondary as well. We need to get rid of those. So the big thing for them is who's that, who's going to step up in the at the cornerback position, and then we would like to see some more turnovers too as well, obviously, from the defense as a whole. And then the kickers, that's just kind of for them, it's just consistency. Frankly, at this point, I feel like I just kind of been repeating it a lot, but it's mostly just consistency from all these guys. I feel optimistic that this game is going to overall be better than last week, despite the fact that we have a tough opponent and an opponent that seems to generally have our number. But I'm optimistic. I think things are going to start to come together, so we'll definitely see what happens. But that's how I see it. That's how I feel about it. And like I said, we'll see. Tomorrow's the game. I'm excited for it. And obviously, I'll definitely be making my post-game recap to really break down what actually happened in the game, and see what I think we did well, see what I think we definitely need to improve on. And if there's anything that, since this is the dress rehearsal game, we'll go over and see if there's anything that I feel will be, a bit concerning going into the into the regular season. Since obviously starters aren't really going to be playing in that last game, this is the game in which, everybody's going to be looking at it and be like, okay, so this is what we would kind of expect, the team to look like. And that's why I do expect Gase to kind of open it up a little bit more and whatnot, and obviously why the starters are going to play longer, probably the entire first half. I would hope to see the starters on both sides of the ball play at least the entire first half, maybe even a little into the third quarter. Real quick, backup quarterbacks. Somebody needs to for sure separate themselves. I do think it is going to be David Fales, but we'll see. So anyway, with that, guys, that's going to be the end of it. That's, my perception, my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. Leave comments. If there's anything I left out, or left out, let me know. Tell me what you guys think about all that. And then obviously if you like the show, if you like this video, if you like my other videos, hit the subscribe button. I'm working hard for you guys to build it and make it better. Hit the like button, like I said, leave comments, questions, concerns, and share it with your friends. I'm trying to grow this as fast as possible. The faster I grow and the more I grow, the more I can do for you guys and the better I can make it. So let's do it together. And with that said, I will see you guys soon, and fins up.